Parasite. See what I did there? Yes, so Michael, the Oscars happened on Sunday night, or not this Sunday, the Sunday previously to when this first is getting uploaded, and big night for Parasite.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm so happy about this is because I watched the movie, I really enjoyed it. I was hoping it was going to win Best Picture. It did win Best Picture, and it is the thing that I picked in our Oscar predictions. That is the movie that I went for to win Best Picture. You went for
1917.
1917, which thankfully it was not.
Yeah.
So happy days all around. And shall we go through the results of our predictions? Obviously, we could get a maximum of 15 points. We had 12 guesses. And obviously, we had a lock-in and a shoe-in. And we will get 2 points for getting those guesses correct. For example, I locked in Joaquin Phoenix as Best Actor, and he did win, so I got 2 points. So, Michael, how many points did you get overall for the Oscar predictions 2020?
I got 6 points, so I'm, a bit disappointed.
What were your winners? What did you get right?
My winners were, I got Little Women winning costume design, obviously. I got Roger Deakins cinematography. I know you got that too, and it was for both of us our lock.
Yeah.
I got Brad Pitt winning Best Supporting Actor for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, fair play. He got it.
Yeah. I got.
I didn't get that.
I got Joker Phoenix winning for Joaquin, which wasn't my lock, and yeah, you locked that or shoot in that.
It definitely should have been.
Yeah, I actually got Parasite. Curiously, I managed to get Parasite winning for Best Director, and you didn't. So that's fun.
There you go.
And then that was it, actually. So that was so I got 5 right, but one of them was a lock.
Yes, well, like yourself, I also got Best Costume Design and Best Cinematography. I also got Best Visual Effects 1917, which, again, I can't believe you didn't pick that either. What did you pick on that one?
I picked Avengers Endgame, and I had my reason. My reason was because there was lots of stuff going on, like lots of big CGI things. But yeah,
yes.
I think part of it is that for some reason in my head, when I saw visual effects, I thought digital effects. Whereas, of course, obviously practical effects generally would be more relied on to win. I kind of just forgot practical effects existed and are generally considered superior to digital effects.
Yes. Best animated feature film, I picked Toy Story. Yes, I know. Boo, boo, boo. I was like, well, the Academy voters, have they even seen the other 4?
Yeah, that's probably true.
Probably not. Yeah. So, yeah, Toy Story, old reliable. I thought it would win, and it did. Jojo Rabbit, Best Adapted Screenplay. I didn't see that coming.
Oh, yeah, I was happy with that. But...
Yeah, I picked Joker. That didn't happen. Best Original Screenplay, I picked Parasite because I thought it'd win Best Picture, so obviously if it's going to win Best Picture, it's going to win this Best Original Screenplay.
Yeah.
That was my like Green Book last year, and it did. Then Best Supporting Actress, who did you go for? Florence Pugh, like me? It was
I did,
Laura Dern.
And that's funny, because, I wanted Laura Dern to win. And that was one of the ones where I said, I want Laura Dern to win, but I don't think she will.
Yeah, Florence Pugh, will win it eventually, but no complaints for that Laura Dern thing. Best Supporting Actor, Brad Pitt, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Of course, you got that. I thought it'd be Pesci, wasn't him. Best Actress, wasn't Cynthia Erivo, so no black representation really at the Oscars.
And I really thought it would be Scarlett Johansson, and that was my lock, because I was so confident. I don't know, I just thought, because there was lots of buzz around Marriage Story, but no. Yeah.
No, Renee Zellweger took it. And then, obviously, Best Actor, Joaquin Phoenix. Everyone could tell that. Well, maybe not everyone. How did you not make that one of your locks?
I know,
It was quite easy,
Yeah, I didn't know.
Best Director, Bong Joon-ho. Obviously, I went for Sam Mendes. 1917 obviously didn't get the love that I thought it would, and I'm quite thankful for that, to be honest. And Best Picture, Parasite. So, overall, I got 10 points. I got 7 correct, and I got all my 2-pointers correct, which puts me up to 10 points. So Michael, another year, another win for me. You did better than last year, though. You only got 1 point, so to get up to 6 now. But congrats. Yeah, congrats. Big win for you.
I'm very happy.
Yeah.
And to be honest, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't seem like too too big of a disparity compared to how I thought it would be, because I don't know, yeah, it feels like you did really well, and yet in terms of the actual numbers, it doesn't feel that big. But
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I got 66% of possible points, so, I'll take that. Roll on next year, Michael. Roll on next year.
What fun. It's going to be a longer wait because it's going to be back to a normal level of lateness back in February. In fact, it might even be early March. I think it's late February next year. So
yeah,
that means we won't have to do all this weird thing where we do the best picture winner in the middle. Who does that? Hello and welcome to Select and Reflect, the movie review podcast where we look at films that have come out in the near and distant past. We give them a couple of watches and evaluate them beyond first impressions. I'm your host Michael, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Luke. And this week we are following on from Green Book, which we did last week, which of course won Best Picture, and we always do the Best Picture when the Oscars are out. But we're looking at a film which many people thought was going to win Best Picture, and did indeed win Best Foreign Language Film, Best Achievement in Directing, and Best Achievement in Cinematography. Those last two, both for Mr. Alfonso Cuarón of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban fame. So, Luke, why don't you tell us a thing or two about Roma?
Sure thing, Michael. So, Roma is a 2018 epic drama film written and directed by Alfonso Cuarón, who also produced, shot, and co-edited it. So I don't need to go through any of the producers, the directors written by, because it's all Alfonso Cuarón, and it stars, well, more than two, but the two main stars are Yalitza Aparicio and Marina de Tavira. It was released on the 14th of December 2018 in Mexico, and the 21st of November 2018 in the United States. And Michael, can you tell me the budget for Roma?
12 million.
That's a very good guess. It's actually 15 million.
Okay.
15 million. And can you tell me what the box office was for Roma?
It's going to be so low. 55 million. I think it'll be low. Oh, actually, this got released on Netflix. That's like
there you go.
That's a confusing thing. I don't really know what that means. Does that mean it got really low? I would think, or does it mean it got high? Because okay, so 20 million.
5.1.
5.1 million. Okay.
That's how much it raked in at the box office. Obviously, it would have been seen by considerably more people than the amount of tickets cost to put up 5.1 million on the box office. But yeah, we don't know. Who knows how much Netflix gained from this? Because obviously you put $15 million into a movie, and I don't know how many. Do you think that many people have seen this on Netflix? I'm not sure.
I think
maybe it's a status thing for them. What do you think?
Yeah, I do wonder that. I mean, I think a lot of people probably started to watch it on Netflix. I'm definitely going to say that, because I think it was quite well advertised. I don't know how many people would have watched it to the end. Yeah,
well, I'm just looking here on the release. In April 2018, it was announced Netflix had acquired distribution, and I'm just looking here. So released digitally on 14th of December, the film was watched by 3.2 million households between January and February 2019, with a peak of 418,000 viewers on 23rd of February, the day before the Academy Awards. Again, we don't know how many people actually watched the whole thing. Maybe because it's quite slow, they turned off after 10 minutes. Like, this is boring. I'll go watch, as the Honest trailers did last year. I remember they did this thing where people were like, Roma's great and all, but I'm just going to switch over and watch The Office on Netflix, because that's much more fun.
That's a big mood.
Yeah. A big mood, yeah. So who knows? 10 minutes of Roma and then half an hour of watching The Office. Maybe that was the standard thing.
That is the calculation you have to bear in mind. It does take, for every 10 minutes of Roma, you need to watch half an hour of The Office, so it's quite a long film.
Yeah, the film received the biggest promotional campaign in Netflix history, by the way, with anywhere from $25 to $50 million in advertisements, with Netflix insisting on the former figure and its rivals on the latter. Okay, so there's always these mysterious numbers with Netflix. Who knows who to trust? One unique tactic included sending out thousands of £6 Roma coffee tables worth $175 to award voters, which led a consultant to say the shipping charge cost more than some movies' advertising budgets. So yeah, they really pushed this film, Netflix. They really tried to make this a thing. Was it worth it? Well, only time will tell, I guess. Anyway, so Michael, did you like Roma?
Yes.
Yes, you did?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I liked it as well, I think. Yeah, it's a movie with some flaws, obviously, we'll go through them, but the strengths are really, really strong. So let's get into nitpicks now. How many do you have?
I've got 6. I think some of them might be bad, but...
Okay.
Oh, no, okay, no, 4. I changed my mind. Okay, I've got 4.
Okay, right. So I've got 1, and it's just the coincidence. For me, obviously, Cleo's boyfriend, Fermín happens to run into the same place where Cleo is when she's trying to, buy a cot for her baby. And yeah, Fermín runs in. What are the chances?
Yeah, that's true.
That they're very, very low. That's what the chances are. So yeah, I just think the odds are just ridiculous on that one. I was like, I'm not letting you have that, Alfonso Cuarón. That's going to be a nitpick. So yeah, that's my one nitpick.
Okay, well mine are, number 1, I was able to do exactly what the martial arts guy did, with my eyes closed as well. Now, admittedly, I couldn't hold it for as long as he did. I think I held it for like 10 seconds, and I'm not an athletic guy. I would probably say my balance is subpar, and yeah, I was able to...
Did you have your eyes open?
Yeah, no, I had my eyes closed. I did the 2 fingers crossed over each other in the air, stood up, and I put the thing there. And I don't know if you tried it, but I'm quite sure, because you are kind of a more athletic guy, like in terms of football and like playing sports and stuff than me.
Thank you.
And I would think maybe you've got a good balance based on that. You got football, you got to stand on one leg because you've got to kick the football, as I understand. So you've probably got slightly better balance going for you. I would be surprised if you. I wouldn't be surprised if you tried to do that. You could probably hold it quite easily on your first try.
Probably.
Whereas in this one, everyone's just like they can't even just begin to do it. They're like, get their foot an inch off the ground. They're like, whoop, falling over. I'm like, it's not that hard.
Okay.
Number 2, why doesn't she clean up the gosh darn dog shit? Like every single time they show the driveway, it's got dog shit on it. And obviously at one point someone's like, clean up the dog shit, bloody Cleo. But the thing is, she's a competent enough housekeeper. I guess she's called a housekeeper. I don't really know what her official command. Like obviously she's kind of an au pair. I don't know what she's official title would be, but we'll just say housekeeper. She's competent enough at it, seemingly, and yet there's always dog shit. And I just think, the one thing that everyone's always complaining at you to do, why don't you just do it? And like,
it must smell as well, surely.
Littered in dog shit, and you just think like that would be. I mean, I would think that would be one of the first things you do. Because she walks out, she lives in like a kind of flat above, and she walks down past the driveway. So I don't know. I don't blame them for being annoyed. I would be more annoyed at her. I'd be like, how do you not notice there's like dog shit right there? That would be the number one thing. Actual shit on our property. You don't have to. Anyway, number 3.
Okay.
Now this one's like one of the ones where maybe it's a cultural thing. The attitudes of the doctors to the stillbirth. To me, it seemed unbelievable. And again, maybe this was because Mexico was kind of a bit of a impoverished and also obviously authoritarian state, and maybe that seeped into the culture and people were a bit more blasé about these
Donald
kind of things. Trump. But back in the day.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So I would imagine, in general, authoritarian states are probably a bit more blasé about death and things like that than us nice, cushy, democratic types. But yeah, the doctors are just like, he's like, do you want to say hi to your dead baby? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, all right, give it back. And then he's like saying, oh, prepare her. I think it's like, prepare the baby. And then she's just looking as they just fold up the baby. And I was thinking, I don't know. It seems like they would have a bit more of a sympathetic tone about the whole situation. Well, at least
they didn't kick it in the bin.
Yeah.
Stop kick it. There was some respect.
Yeah, I know, yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I just found that a bit weird. And number 4, again, there could easily be an explanation within the narrative for why this happened, but I thought it was really stupid of the mum to tell the children that there was going to be a divorce in a public place. That just seems so, okay, kids, come on, let's go out to a public place where there's loads of people around and, we're getting a divorce. And it's just then they're just going to create a scene. And you're just like, I don't know, you'd think you'd tell them at home so they can kind of be sad and maybe go up to their room because they want to be alone. But you tell them in a big, loud public place where they're going to start crying. And obviously if they're a slightly older kid, they might start crying and then they're going to be embarrassed. I don't know. Screw that mum.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, maybe she was just like, I'm not sure really. I'm trying to justify it.
Well, I will say, like, the one justification I think of is obviously, like, she was obviously upset about the whole situation, so maybe she wasn't thinking quite rationally. Like, she wasn't, having the forethought of, like, well, why to do it, because obviously she's focusing on the fact she's getting divorced and she's upset about that. So that would be the excuse that ultimately, she might not have foreseen the fact that the kids would react that way because she was busy focusing on herself because she was upset about the divorce. So there we go. That's my response to my nitpick. Stupid Michael.
Okay, right. Anyway, so those are the nitpicks. We shall now get into the plot of the movie. And first off, I'll just tell you the plot from Wikipedia. Roma, set in 1970 and 1971. Roma is a semi-autobiographical take on Cuarón's upbringing in the Colonia Roma neighborhood of Mexico City. Did you know that, Michael? Did you know that's why it's called
what?
Roma?
I think the first time I watched this film, which was a while ago, several months ago, I think I did look that up and actually found out. Mostly because the whole time I was watching it, I wasn't paying attention. No, I wasn't. At first I was thinking, hey, the character's called Cleo. You'd think she would be called Roma. Because, I'm used to that thing where the title of the film is just the first name of the main character.
Yes. Roma follows the life of a living housekeeper of a middle-class family and stars Yelitza Aparicio and Marina de Tavera. So yeah, that's essentially what this movie is, and it just follows the life about a year of Yelitza Aparicio, who of course plays Cleo, as you mentioned. Yeah, I said about a year of her life.
Oh yeah, that was it.
And she's called Cleo. And yeah, so essentially, I think what this movie is, more than anything else, is a love letter to the Mexico of Alfonso Cuarón's youth. That is why, of course, this movie is called Roma and not Cleo, as you said. That's what it would normally be called, but it's called. Why is it called Roma? Oh, because that's where Alfonso Cuarón grew up. So that is what it is. It's a really personal movie from him. And I guess that's what you get to make when you've been at it as long as Alfonso Cuarón has. Now, I just think in the amount of time he spent crafting this, it must have been amazing for him to create this movie and for him to watch it back. That must have been really one of the best things he'd ever done.
Or it was so surreal that it sent him into an existential crisis.
Yeah, maybe that. And so obviously, I think Roma, you could say, well, there's not really a plot, really. It's just Cleo going about her life. And obviously, there's a lot of shit that happens to her, but, there's no beginning and end to her life. It's just like a year, and it's an eventful year, no doubt. But it is just 1 year in her life, and I guess you could read Roma as sort of a tribute to Cleo. This maid from very poor background, I imagine, working in a normal middle-class Mexican city house, and it's just a tribute to her. And I guess Alfonso Cuarón, he must have had a maid when he was younger who he was very fond of. That's, I guess, what the inspiration.
Yeah, he should be called Alfonso Cuarón.
Why?
Because he was very fond of her.
Oh, fuck, that's shit. That's so shit.
Anyway, I think there is something which needs to be mentioned, because we've hinted at it already. It's the elephant in the room. It's the B word, Luke. Boring. You
found this boring?
No, well, okay. Two things. Number one, regardless of whether or not I found it boring, there's definitely, obviously we've already mentioned the Honest Trailers, and they talk about, hey, you'll watch it for 10 minutes and then you want to go watch The Office. And the reason why, and obviously I said, hey, I imagine a lot of people started watching this and then they didn't finish watching it. There is I think, an understanding amongst pretty much everybody that definitely the average audience is going to watch this film and just think, this is so boring. But I actually saw I think it's from a channel called The Take. So I'll just credit them, I guess, by saying I think that was their little think piece on it that I saw. And they literally said, as they were reviewing it, they said, when I was watching this film, I got so bored that I had to stop halfway through. But I still like it. I don't know. That's what they said. So I don't know. But for me, this was my situation with it. The first time I watched this film, I was really, really super bored. Just insanely bored the first time I watched this film.
I thought you were going to go the opposite way then. I thought I was super hooked. I couldn't take my eyes off it.
What a cinematic equivalent to a page turn. No, but I just remember being really bored. And therefore, when I was going to watch it for the second time, I thought, this is going to be really boring. And I was literally thinking to myself, like, am I going to come out of this just saying, hey, I didn't like this film because I found it so boring. But what happened is the second time I watched this film, I sort of just, I think when you realize it is boring, or in other words, it's not exciting, that nothing really very exciting happens, and it's not this riveting adventure, you kind of just start appreciating the smallness of this film, kind of the intimacy of this film.
Yes, and exactly. You hit the nail on the head right there. But go on, continue.
Well, I was going to say, and also obviously the cinematography contributes to that. But something I was thinking about is the first time I watched this film, I was reading all the subtitles very, intently to pick up on the plot. And I was getting bored because I was sat there reading the subtitles thinking, okay, that's not a very interesting thing that person just said.
Yeah, you don't, that is what you notice when you watch it. It's like, you don't really need to look at the subtitles because it's mostly just like small talk a lot of the time.
Yeah, because that's the second
really consequential.
Yeah, the second time I watched it, I think maybe 1/3 of the time I actually read the subtitles properly. Another third of the time I kind of glanced at them so I could get the picture, and another third of the time I was basically not looking at them at all. I was just busy looking at like the shot composition and the characters and how nice it looked. And I was actually thinking that like if I knew somebody, especially somebody who wasn't used to watching kind of artsy films and generally watched films which had a plot and weren't boring, then the single bit of advice I would probably give to them is I'd say, hey, when you watch this film, just don't focus as much on like what the characters are saying. If your eyes are drawn to the subtitles, then read the subtitles. But ultimately, if your eyes are drawn to something else going on in the scene, then don't feel like you have to direct your attention away from that to read what somebody else is saying, because ultimately you're just a fly on the wall, and what the people are saying is going to be, it's kind of like people watching, when you're people watching, you will look at different things, but you don't feel like you have to lip read what every single person's saying. You can kind of just appreciate it as it comes.
Yes, I think ultimately I had the same kind of experience. I started off thinking, right, this isn't really going great, but then you just settle into the movie. I think that's the best way to describe it, and just appreciate all the little details. And obviously you mentioned the cinematography, it's incredible, and we'll talk about it in more detail later. Obviously that really helps, and you just look at the shots and it's so just beautiful, and you feel so immersed in the movie, and you really don't care as much about the plot. And I guess what your experience is similar to the experience I had, I guess, with Moonlight. That's what I remember from Moonlight. It's like the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, this isn't that great, is it? Second time I was like, you know what, I really like this a lot more. And I had a much more positive reaction to it the second time. And that wasn't really with me. I think it was like the first probably third of the movie. I was like, okay, this is quite bad. But then I got into it and I was like, okay, I can really appreciate this. And I think I'm starting to think, is this going to be another Call Me By Your Name scenario? Yeah. And I rated Call Me By Your Name badly last year compared to quite a lot of people. I had so many, well, I didn't have, I saw so many people say on like Twitter and, other social media platforms and so on, who, people who like movies like, oh yeah, I loved Call Me By Your Name. And I'm just like, I still don't. And I think the difference is that doesn't have a plot, really. And also, I mean, the cinematography is good in that, but it's not as great as this. You don't really feel as immersed in this. This is really something special, this movie. I think that's probably the difference between Call Me By Your Name and this. It feels really like an incredible experience, this movie, watching it. Just, I mean, of course, we're going to talk about the technical stuff later, and we're going to rave about that, but that really, I don't want to say it makes up for the plot, because that implies that the plot was bad, but obviously that's not what Alfonso Cuarón was going for with this. It's like, just, appreciate this made clear, and obviously there is some plot to it. I'm not saying there's not a plot, but appreciate the environment that she's in, and we're going to try and recapture, that time in Mexico in the early 1970s in Mexico City as best as we possibly can. And that's what we're going to do. So I think, I'm thinking obviously back to a movie, obviously like Call Me By Your Name. Rated it poorly, and I think that's the difference. That's why I think I like this more than Call Me By Your Name, because obviously there are similarities there. What do you think about that?
I think I basically agree. This film, the big thing about the film obviously is that it knows what it is. In fact, actually, it's funny. Just today, I was thinking about how much I like Eminem compared to Lil Yachty. And basically the reason why, in case you're wondering, is because I like that Eminem has a tonal and thematic consistency to most of his songs.
I wasn't, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, then I was thinking about, obviously you have rappers like MF Doom, and MF Doom is very famous for having these very intricate verses where you often get whole bars that rhyme with each other. Like each line, every single syllable of the line will rhyme with each syllable of the line that came before it. Yeah, so he has these really intricate bars, which he's really famous for. But when you actually look at the substance of the bars, they're not really saying anything very meaningful. And sometimes what they're saying is almost gibberish. But people like MF Doom, they consider him to be a really good rapper, because MF Doom isn't trying to tell a story with his lyrics. He's not trying to communicate a message with his lyrics. All he's doing is trying to poetically string together these rhymes in order to make a really good rap flow. And I think in a similar way, Alfonso Cuarón isn't necessarily trying to tell a story, and kind of, obviously he's telling a story of sorts, but he's not trying to tell a story in the traditional kind of plot sense we think of. Yes. And he's not trying really to get across a message. You might disagree with that, but I don't think he's really trying to get across much of a message. He's just using the pure artistic expression of cinema to get something across. Whereas with Call Me By Your Name, I mean, I haven't rewatched Call Me By Your Name since, we last watched it. And I do wonder if when I go back to it, I will get something maybe out of the emotional aspect of it. I'll be kind of curious to see whether or not that happens. Certainly, I definitely think Call Me By Your Name did not have the full-on cinematographic
immersive experience.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You very much get the impression that this is an external event that you're witnessing. That these are two characters who are over there in Italy and you're watching them do their thing. Whereas with this, you kind of feel like you're almost a member of the house, or you're like a fly or a bug just looking around going, oh, look at that. Or a cat. That'd be cute.
It's genius of the cinematography, the sound and everything. But yeah, I think, your comparison to Roma and MF Doom is accurate. It is kind of like in basketball, Danny Green.
Danny Green.
Danny Green, he's just a 3-and-D player. Shoots the threes, plays hard defense, doesn't try to do anything else, and he's great at that. And that's what he should do. If he tried to, play make...
But what about his post-game?
Now, nobody uses the post anymore in basketball because it's an inefficient shot. But essentially, he's not a post-game player anyway. And so, that's, there's a bunch of other players like that. I just use Danny Green because he's on the Lakers. There's probably better players like that than him. But I think that's what is similar to this movie. It's not... Yeah, I mean, obviously there is a plot, and we'll talk about it, I think, after this. But just to say, what is so good about this film? What are its strengths? And obviously, the strong thing is just, like I said, the immersive experience you get from watching this. It is truly something else. And if you just sit back and settle into it and stop, I guess, trying, like you said, you're trying to read the subtitles, trying to discern what was going on within the plot. If you just don't do that, and you just look at the screen, you don't even need to know what the characters are saying, and then you can really appreciate it and understand that this is, a really, really good movie. I think that's what we have to say about that. Again, Cuarón wasn't going for something, incredibly plotty. So, and the cinematography and all that more than makes up for it. The environment he creates definitely does. So, But let's talk about, I guess, there is a plot.
The plot that is there, yeah.
Yeah, the plot that is there. So you could, well, again, it's just Cleo's life is a month in her life. Sorry, not a month, a year in her life.
Yeah.
And she's battered by a lot of things, but it is contained, and that I think fits in with the film. Because if you just want to immerse yourself in an environment like this film tries to do, then it's having a story like a beginning, middle, and end. It wouldn't really make sense because you're just trying to get into this particular time in Mexico City. So it would feel more like watching a movie, and that's obviously not really the intention here. So that I think again that's fine. That doesn't have like a beginning, middle, and end. But if it does have a plot, I think Manolo Dargis of the New York Times sums up, I guess, the plot or the message, or however well. They say, this is Roma, an expansive emotional portrait of life buffeted by violent forces and a masterpiece, and praise Cuarón's use of intimacy and monumentality to express the depths of ordinary life. So I guess that would be the message of the plot, just just an ordinary life, just nothing special about this person apart from that she has very good balance. And she's so there's so much more to her than meets the eye, and that's probably the message, if there is one. What do you think about that?
I think ultimately I don't know if you can say there is much of a message beyond. It's kind of an idea of like the message is almost that there is no message, and
that kind of fits in with the message.
But I think
this
actually
is life.
Regarding the plot, I think there are kind of three threads which could be identified, and one of them which actually I found much more interesting on my second watch was the kind of fascism casually in the background of this film, which I really liked. I was thinking back to appropriately, very similar films, Solo, a Star Wars story, and how I said that one of the things I would have liked about Solo is if it kind of just showed how, from the perspective of a criminal or a lowlife like Han, the Empire is just something in the background. It's not this great evil thing that needs to be fought.
Michael? You know what? Zizek, who we're going to read an article from later, I wasn't going to talk about this bit because it's not what his main thesis in the article, but he does say that. He says in his article, I'll just read it now because you're basically echoing what he says. He says, it takes place in 1970, the time of large student protests and social unrest. Cuarón maintains distance between the two levels, the family troubles, Antonio leaving his family for a younger mistress, Cleo getting pregnant by a boyfriend who immediately abandons her, and this focus on intimate family topics makes the oppressive presence of social struggles all the more palpable as the diffuse but omnipresent background. As Fred Jameson would have put it, history as real cannot be depicted directly, but only as the elusive background that leaves its mark on depicted events. So essentially, you and Zizek agree. It's just have it on the background. It makes it feel so much more real.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like in a, well, I don't want to say lesser film because I think there's a place for films like this, but in a different film, obviously, it had to be about, she would be a student protester. She would be somebody who's like, it would be a film about the student protest, like the harrowing story of the students who face off against the fascist government. And that would be like the plot of the film. Whereas in this case, it's like she wants to go get a crib for a baby and the student protest is in the way. And then obviously a student protest, her water breaks during a student protest and then there's traffic. From the perspective of somebody just trying to live their life, all of this is almost distant. Yeah, I think distance was a term that Slavoj Žižek used, especially with the fact that also this is a film where what the film is presenting to you wash over you in a kind of passive way. Having the fascism be something going on in the background adds to that you're basically just observing things. The other thing you get is the divorce. That's the second kind of plot thread. I don't think there's much really to say about that, apart from it's just another example of something which is she doesn't really relate to, that she doesn't really impact her, and just shows, I guess it just adds to the fact that this is a life, there's a life in this kind of universe presented in this film beyond her. And then obviously the only thing that does directly affect her is her getting pregnant. The main thing obviously is that she loses the baby, and then the big kind of culmination of the plot, if there could be such a thing in this film, is when she says that she didn't want the baby. Which is, I think it's an interesting line, really, because it's like, the film, again, because it's not really about anything, it's not about whether or not she wants this baby, and you don't really get an impression throughout the whole film about her attitude towards being pregnant, that it almost becomes, I think, more jarring to hear that confession from her because she's been so kind of emotionally muted throughout the rest of the film, that when she makes that confession, it feels more powerful.
No, yeah, it definitely does, like you said. It did definitely, like that. She is hardly emotional throughout the whole movie, you're right. She really doesn't do anything or say anything emotional. She doesn't have like a big moment, apart from right at the end. Right at the end, when so that makes that line, like I said, even more impactful. And
also, it's obviously so out of the blue because she's just, she saved the kids from drowning, which again is, I don't think almost relevant. She just says it because it's like,
it's an emotional moment, so exactly. She's letting it out.
Yeah. And then obviously I think the only other thing is that then the plot continues, almost like you'd think in a way it would be like, oh, she says she doesn't want it. That's kind of the big emotional moment. And that's the moment that kind of sticks with you. And then you'd think it would fade to black and say that's the end of the film. But obviously it then continues almost unnecessarily to just show them get back. They have kind of meaningless conversation, and then she walks up, and as she walks up, the camera obviously pans up, and then the film ends. I imagine, I'm pretty much 99% certain, that the reason why that was made was to maintain the idea that this is just a year in the life. So in other words, because it just continues for all the arbitrary stuff, it doesn't end at the obvious emotional climax, that then continues the idea that, the story continues. As opposed to if you have it end at the definitive emotional climax, that feels like, okay, that's the end of the narrative. By having it then continue and not end in any kind of big emotional climax, it feels like, okay, yeah, this is a universe that continues to exist outside of the parameters of this film, which obviously just adds to the overall effect.
Yeah, it's just, I love that. I love the ending. It's just like another normal day. Well, obviously they get back, but it's like, Cleo tells Adela, I believe that's the other housekeeper's name, like, oh, I've got a story to tell you. And she just goes up. I think she's got some washing. Walks up the stairs. The camera pans up to the sun, and the birds are tweeting again. It's just another day. It's a great ending to a movie, based on obviously the type of movie Colin's going for. So yeah, I really like that as well. It was a good choice, great choice. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Luke, I gather you've been doing some homework. So why don't you just tell the class about that?
Okay, well, it's not really homework. I literally saw it on Wikipedia and I thought, oh, there's an article from Slavoj Zizek about Roma. Well, that'll be interesting. Slavoj Zizek, he's an interesting guy. That is for sure. Whatever else you want to say about him, he is interesting. So he wrote an article titled, Roma is being celebrated for all the wrong reasons. Yes. Incredible. So he starts off by saying the
cinematography is crap and the plot is really interesting. What a controversial take.
Oh God. My first viewing of Roma. No, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
My first viewing of Roma left me with a bitter taste. Yes, the majority of critics are right in celebrating it as an instant classic, but I couldn't get rid of the idea that this predominant perception is sustained by a terrifying, almost obscene misreading, and that the movie is celebrated for all the wrong reasons. Then there's the bit about, the social unrest in the background and how it's makes it more impactful that is in the background and so on. And then, we start off from here. So, does Roma really just celebrate Cleo's simple goodness and selfless dedication to the family? Can she really be reduced to the ultimate love object of a spoiled upper-middle-class family, accepted almost as part of the family to better be exploited physically and emotionally? The film's texture is full of subtle signs which indicate that the image of Cleo's goodness is itself a trap. The object of implicit critique which denounces her dedication as the result of her ideological blindness. There you go, he got that word in. Mm-hmm, yeah. Ideological, he had to.
The trash can of ideology.
Zizek says, I don't have in mind here just the obvious distances in how the family members treat Cleo. Immediately after professing their love for her and talking with her like equals, They abruptly ask her to do some house job or to serve them something. What struck me was, for example, the display of Sophia's indifferent brutality in her drunken attempt to park the family Ford Galaxy in the narrow garage area. How she repeatedly scratches the wall with chunks of plaster falling down. Although this brutality can be justified by her subjective despair, being abandoned by her husband, the lesson is that, due to her dominant position, she can afford to act like that. The servants will repair the wall, of course, while Cleo, who finds herself in a much more dire situation, simply cannot afford such authentic outbursts. Even when her whole world is falling apart, the work has to go on. And I think, that's pretty true. I mean, that's just the life of a housekeeper, I guess. Cleo's true predicament first emerges in all its brutality in the hospital after she delivers a stillborn baby girl. Multiple attempts to resuscitate the infant fail, and the doctors give the body to Cleo for a few moments before taking it away. Many critics who saw in this scene the most traumatic moment of the film miss its ambiguity. As we learn later in the film, but can suspect now already, what truly traumatizes her is that she doesn't want a child, so a dead body in her hand is good news. At the film's end, Sophia takes her family to the beach to help Cleo deal with her heartache. In reality, they want to use her there as a servant, although she just went through a painful stillbirth. 2 of the children almost drown in the currents, but Cleo wades in to rescue them, even though she herself can't swim. The event leads to Sophia and the children declaring their devotion to Cleo for such selflessness, and Cleo breaking down, admitting she never wanted the baby in the first place. Back home, as she returns to the drudgery and prepares another wash, Cleo's sister Adela she has much to tell her as a plane flies overhead. After Cleo saves the 2 boys, they all, Sophie, Cleo and the boys, tightly embrace on the beach. A moment of false solidarity, if there ever was one. A moment which simply confirms that Cleo is caught into a trap that enslaves her. Am I dreaming here? Is my reading not too crazy? I think Cuarón provides a subtle hint in this direction at the level of the form. The entire scene of Cleo saving the children is shot in one long take, with the camera moving transversely, always focused on Cleo. But when one watches the scene, one cannot avoid the feeling of a strange dissonance between form and content. While the content is a pathetic gesture from Cleo who, soon after the traumatic stillbirth, risks her life for the children, the form totally ignores the dramatic context. There is no exchange of shots between Cleo entering the water and the children, no dramatic tension between the danger the children are in and her effort to save them, no point of view shot depicting what she sees. The strange inertia of the camera, its refusal to get involved in the drama, renders in a palpable way Cleo's disentanglement from the pathetic role of a faithful servant ready to sacrifice herself. There is further hint of emancipation to come in the very final moments of the film when Cleo's sister Adela, I have much to tell you. Maybe this means that Cleo's finally getting ready to step out of the trap of her quote-unquote goodness, becoming aware that her selfless dedication to her family is the very form of her servitude. In other words, Cleo's total withdrawal from political concerns, her dedication to selfless service, is the very form of her ideological identity. It is how she lives ideology. God, he loves that word. Maybe explaining her predicament to Adela is the beginning of Cleo's quote-unquote class consciousness, the first step that will lead her to join the protesters on the street. A new figure of Cleo will arise in the way, and much more cold and ruthless, a figure of Cleo delivered from ideological chains. But maybe it will not. It is very difficult to get rid of the chains in which we not only feel good, but feel that we are doing something good. As T.S. Eliot put it in his Murder in the Cathedral, the greatest sin is to do the right thing for the wrong reason. So, yeah, interesting. I think, overall, yes. Of course, what he's saying is, Cleo, right, he says, she's trapped. She's doing all these good things for this family, and she's being a real hero, and the kids love her, but she's still their servant. And that's something that he hopes, obviously, in the end, that she'll get through her head. Like, these people, they say they love you, but they don't actually love you. That you're an employee of theirs, essentially.
Yes.
Yes, and so, that you need to be, as he puts it, more cold and ruthless. And again, that's something, it's, who knows about what she feels, but that's the point she makes, and he is making out, obviously, that the director, Alfonso Cuarón, is insisting that. And again, that's something, that's an interpretation that I don't know if I fully agree with. I can argue what Cleo should do, what she should do, but what is the film actually saying? And I don't know if I agree with Zizek, because it doesn't make sense with the rest of Quran. Like, it's a tribute to Cleo. It's like a tribute to his childhood. Yeah. I don't think he would put something like this in that movie. It doesn't seem like he would. What do you think?
Well, I would say actually the one positive for Zizek, well, not necessarily one positive, but one significant positive for Zizek's understanding is that it would draw together all three plot threads into one whole. Obviously, the fact that she is not politically conscious, the fact that the relatively minor, insignificant conflict is going on within the house between the mother and the father, and then, of course, her own much more substantial conflict. All those three things coming together to show how basically she should become conscious of the class struggle. But I think
how does the second thing make her conscious of class struggle?
So the second thing, because basically it shows how the insignificance of the minor problems they have. Basically, the argument you made about how the woman kind of angrily smashes the car into the building, causing all sorts of damage, and she can do that because even though it's a very minor thing, really, in the grand scheme of things, just getting divorced compared to all the stuff that Cleo's had to go through.
That's where I disagree with you. I really wouldn't call that a minor thing.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Your whole life turns upside down. Really, it does. So I would not call it a minor.
Yeah, sorry, Kirk Van Houten. I sleep in a racing car. Do you? So actually, I think that is a big the issue, and but the main issue I think with it is that kind of related to what you said. Obviously, I think you mentioned how it was supposed to be a tribute to Cleo and also to the life that Alfonso Cuarón knows. But yeah, also the other aspect of it, I think, is that this film, it has a certain simplicity to it and also a certain passiveness to it. And I think you can make an inference of political activism in reaction to this film, but I don't think you can attribute that intent to this film because this film is so passionately passive and apathetic in a kind of political context that I don't think you can then say, oh, this film is making a political message. I think you can say that a political message can be drawn from this film, and that the very passiveness on display can be interpreted in a political lens, which is obviously what Zizek does. But I don't think you can say that this film itself is insisting upon anything, never mind political activism.
Yeah, intent matters, and that is the key. And obviously, Zizek, he has a good argument with the shot of Cleo running into the water to save the kids. But again, it doesn't really have to be about, or what he says it's about. Maybe it's just Alfonso Cuarón showing, like, just focusing on Cleo. Look what she's doing in this situation. Isn't she amazing what she does? Like, the love that she exhibits, the goodness that she exhibits, that could be the message. That's why the camera stays fixated on her rather than what Zizek said. So, yeah, I think intent, obviously, you can interpret it like that, obviously. But if we're talking about, how good a movie is, or, you can interpret anything, really. You can say anything is, this means this means that, while watching a movie or studying any piece of art.
Cats.
Watching Cats. You could probably draw up like a class consciousness of Cats. Probably, and I think actually
there's a whole channel called Big Joel, and his whole shtick is that he takes usually kids' films and draws these really sophisticated political conclusions from them.
No, you could literally do that for anything. You could do it with fucking Toy Story as well.
Yeah, like he literally just to give an example, he takes the film The Lorax and basically draws the message from the Lorax. The Lorax is basically saying that once you commodify the very act of naturalness itself, you cannot escape the ideological culture of commodification and an artificiality. And that's the conclusion he draws from the Lorax. And he makes a really convincing argument for it, but obviously we know the people who made the Lorax are just a bunch of idiots. But you can draw that conclusion. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think about Toy Story, and obviously the rest of the toys there would be the quote-unquote proletariat in the scenario, and Buzz and Woody are battling for control over them. And I'm sure you could make a Marxist interpretation of that somehow, some way.
More like Tolstoy's story.
Yeah, something like that. So yeah, I mean, I think overall, yeah, you can do whatever you want with interpretations. So the intent, that's why intent has to matter. And was Caron intending to, show how Cleo is actually trapped? I don't think so. So I disagree with Zizek, although I think, yes, it should be that it's a really nice point, and he makes it really well, but is that the intention? No. So, the article, let's not forget what the article is called. Roma is being celebrated for all the wrong reasons. And so should it be celebrated for what Zizek thinks? No, it should not be celebrated, because that is not the intention. But if it was the intention, then yes, it should be celebrated for that. For, thingy, what was she called? Cleo being in a trap. But again, like I said, it's not what Caron's going for, it's not his intention, so no, it should not be celebrated for that. Anyway, Michael, now we've done that Zizek article, which I think was very interesting. It was very good, I feel. We should now talk about cinematography. What do you think?
Yes, I think we should talk about cinematography. Question number 1. How did they do the shot at the beginning where you can see the reflection of the sky in the puddle? I have no idea. Because, think about it, it's all one unbroken shot, and the water comes in, and that water from the light causes a reflection, which then reflects up into the sky without a camera there. And you just think, how? Because obviously, like, the similar thing I'm thinking of is, of course, the classic shot in Harry Potter and the Prison of Azkaban, where it zooms in on the mirror and then it goes through the mirror. But that's just one shot. Like, the whole point of that one shot is to have the camera go through the mirror. So you can, and there are ways that they do that. But in this case, it's not the camera going through a mirror. It's the camera pointing at the ground, which gradually gets wetter and wetter and wetter until eventually you're able to see the reflection of the daylight in it. And then the camera's not there. CGI? I think it must have been CGI. That's the only explanation I can think of. Which I guess maybe makes sense because maybe the plane was CGI too. So yeah, I guess they just removed the camera with CGI. That's the only I don't think it's physically possible to have done that. Because like I said, they do have ways, and they have had ways of doing like shots of cameras going through mirrors and stuff, like basically making it look like you're looking at a reflection, but not really. But yeah, I don't think that would be possible. So that's just a technical aspect. But in terms of the artistic, number 1, it's black and white. I mean, do you want to talk about the fact it's black and white, Luke? What does that mean? What does it represent?
Well, I guess represents the past. Yes. That's the first thing I think of, represents the past. But yeah, I guess I was thinking about that, obviously, when you watch it. You get used to it, obviously, and that's why we haven't brought it up until now, because it's like, oh yeah, it's black and white, but obviously, you can only think about it in black and white.
Yeah, I know people who have literally said, like, oh, I'm not watching that film, it's in black and white. Which is weird. The funny thing is like, it wasn't even an artistic film. It was Kevin Smith's Clerks, which obviously is shot in black and white. I'm like, I don't want to watch this in black and white. I was like, it's literally just a stoner comedy by Kevin Smith. But okay, fine. Yeah,
I think it almost feels better that it's in black and white, because there's no colours, obviously. So it's like, it feels, I guess, more like a memory, perhaps. Maybe that's what it's meant to go for.
Yeah,
just because it feels more real.
It's a bit like how they use sepia tone. I think they use that in The Godfather, like sepia tone, to show that it's the past. And obviously, black and white also, I think, definitely represents the idea of it being a memory. Or also, I think the other thing is kind of a dream, which I think can sort of add to the idea of you're just looking at things. Because you know how in a dream, I feel like this is true, you look at yourself in third person. Like in a lot of dreams, you actually are looking at yourself. I've heard that before. And obviously in that context, well, that almost makes it feel more immersive that we're looking at all of these people from a third person perspective, but by having the black and white. Because also we do dream in black and white. I guess maybe you knew that? Yeah, we actually do dream. I don't know how they know this stuff, but they know we dream in black and white. So all of that combined,
Okay.
the third person just
Yeah,
watching things in the observer, the black and white thing, it all adds together to make it feel a bit more like an impartial observer just flying through it like a dream.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not sure about the psychology behind it. Obviously, you bring up a good point about we dreaming black and white or whatever, but yeah, for whatever reason, it feels more real that there are no colours there. It does feel like you are more immersed in this part of Mexico City, and you like. I guess it's just because maybe because I don't know. You've been to different places around the world, or I have. I'm sure you have as well, and it's if something was a different color, like you can paint your own canvas if something's black and white. Maybe that's it as well. You can imagine stuff, and because you're imagining stuff, you're drawing from things of your own memory, and so if you're drawing from things of your own memory, it feels more real. That's what you have to do if things are black and white. You imagine what that looks like. You imagine what that looks like. So maybe that's something as well. That's maybe what I'm thinking about right now. But yeah, I think obviously, black and white. It's a really good idea. I think we've both agreed it makes it film better. And obviously, just the cinematography is just so good. I don't know, like, is there an adjective? Is that the word to describe it?
It's neato.
Neato. Very neato. Yeah, and it's not just the cinematography, it's all the technical aspects, like the sound as well. It's
the sounds, really good sound design.
The birds chirping, like at the end, and the dogs barking as well, the constant dogs barking, it feels so real, and the footsteps as well. It's so impressive. You do believe like you could be there, like where your way around this house, and the amount of effort that got put in is just amazing. And of course it goes back to Cuarón, this being a passion project for him. It definitely was, and obviously the other element which is great is the production design. Like, all of these technical aspects are just so wonderfully done. So much care is put into them that it, I remember this joke. So remember how we reviewed a movie a few weeks ago, Michael, called American Beauty.
Oh yeah.
Maybe this should be called Mexican Beauty. Yeah, obviously, there's a theme in American Beauty. That's why it's called American Beauty rather than the cinematography being outstanding or something like that. But again, Mexican Beauty. It is just an outrageously beautiful film.
Yes. I think what's impressive about it actually as well. Well, first of all, actually, one thing I wanted to say on the subject of it being immersive. Obviously, Alfonso Cuarón is famous for long shots, long interrupted shots.
He loves those long shots.
Yeah. And I think
he's a regular Kevin De Bruyne.
One aspect about that.
Does Kevin De Bruyne take that much long shots? I feel like he's good at them. I don't know. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I don't really know.
Philippe Coutinho. He's a regular Philippe Coutinho. That's the better
yes.
thing. Go on.
He takes these long shots, and I think that also contributes to the immersive aspect of it. Mostly because obviously in real life we don't have cuts in our experience of what we do, and number two, obviously when you have cuts, it can kind of remind you of the fact you're watching a film. And I think basically there obviously are cuts. It's not a film that tries to make it look as if there are no cuts or anything like that. But I think it still works really well because it's kind of like the cuts feel very motivated, like it's when people move from one room to another and things like that. So it is definitely not a film where there's loads of unnecessary cuts. And the other aspect of it, which I think is related, is because the other person who does a lot of good one-shot takes is Steven Spielberg. But the thing about Steven Spielberg is he does one-shot takes for efficiency. And the reason why Steven Spielberg isn't famous for doing one-shot takes, even though when you actually look at it, he does loads of one-shot takes, or like loads of, really long shots, is that he doesn't show off his long shots. He does them just because, you don't have to set everything up and have loads of cameras and things like that. And I think in a way you almost get that shining through, where it kind of feels like, because obviously in Prisoner of Azkaban and Children of Men, which I think are Alfonso Cuarón's two most famous films. I can't think. Can you think of any other film he's done that's like really famous? No. So, but
he did Children of Men.
Yeah, I mentioned Children of Men.
Oh, sorry.
Come on, Luke. Calm down. In Children of Men, you get the famous car chase scene, which is all done in one shot. And everyone goes, wow, that car chase scene was all done in one shot. How impressive. In this film, again, you have the one shot, but it's not impressive. Or it's not drawing attention to itself. It's not showing off. And I think that aspect adds to it as well. It's kind of, you get, for example, this isn't beautiful in the way a Wes Anderson film is beautiful, where it slaps you over the head with the fantasticness of it all. It's almost like everything about it feels very natural and almost it's so, because like you said, it's so clear that so much care went into constructing this. And yet I think in another way, what adds to the beauty of the film is that it looks so natural and careless, as if just, we're not watching a director's meticulous effort to make everything absolutely perfect. It all feels very natural, as if this is just how it is. And obviously, lots of effort must have gone into that. There were things which had to be kind of planned and coordinated and stuff like that. And if obviously you do know you're watching a film and you can notice that stuff, but it's not drawing your attention to it in the way that another film might. And I think that adds to the kind of authenticity of it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think you're right. It definitely does add to the authenticity. So yeah, anything more to say on the cinematography?
No.
Any technical aspects?
Yeah, just watch the film because, yeah, nothing else.
Yeah, it was. We did do cinematography last year when guessing the Oscars, and I think we both. Well, I picked Roma because I definitely would.
I think I would have picked Roma.
But you only got 1 point, so
yeah,
that might have been
sense.
it.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't really. I'll have to go back and. I'll have to go back and look.
I know it was your lock-in or shoe-in because you got 2. You got 2 points, but you got 1 right. So what would it have been?
Oh.
Do you remember?
I really don't know. I think maybe it was directing that I got it in. And instead of I don't know. I'll have to look into it, but because I really don't remember for last year. But yeah, you'd think it would be central. Of course, Blade Runner was the year before. Yeah, so. Yeah.
You would have to be an absolute moron to not pick cinematography, best cinematography for this movie. I have to tell you.
Exactly. Yeah, when it's old Quran.
Oh, what if this movie went up against Blade Runner for cinematography? What about that?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, I have been thinking about Blade Runner because
2 titans up against it. That's the thing. It's like Blade Runner. Yeah, easy. I think. Pretty much, because I can't imagine anything matched it that year. And again, Roma last year, I can't imagine anything matched it.
Yeah.
This year.
These two films against each other, yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, Blade Runner, obviously, and that's where kind of the difference comes in again. And I probably could have mentioned Blade Runner. Also, is another film where you're drawn attention to it. Whereas in this film, it does feel much more natural. I don't think either of those, that makes either of the films better or worse than the other. But I do think it makes them different because obviously, if you're just talking in terms of the amount of times you're going to go, wow, that's beautiful. I think Blade Runner would probably win, but in terms of the more simple beauty, this film probably wins. So I guess it depends the kind of person you are. Are you Zen or are you, the opposite to Zen? I don't know.
Yeah.
Gwen Stacy, because she gets her neck snapped at the end of The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and in a similar way, because of the whiplash of, being, falling from the thing, in a similar way, the intenseness of the cinematography will likewise give you a sense of whiplash that will snap your neck.
Okay, that's good. That's very nice. So, we talked about, cinematography now, and obviously that is where the movie gets a 10 out of 10. That's one of its strongest points.
Yeah.
Anyway, we now have to talk about another strong point of this movie, which is the indigenous representation. According to a study of 65 indigeneity-oriented fictional features produced in Latin America in the 21st century, the film can be considered as a catalyst for change in the blueprint for representations of indigenous characters in cinema, Roma depicts Cleo, the main indigenous character, to a level of detail that there is no room for stereotypical portrayals. Gonzalo Rodriguez asserts the film is a unique example of syntonic indigeneity as it challenges traditional representations of the indigenous other as an exotic figure. So yeah, she is the main character, obviously. She's indigenous to Mexico, and whatever it was called before Mexico, I'm not sure. And so yeah, it's I guess great. I guess I don't know much about Latin America's cinema in the 21st century. And
well, I tell you what, Luke. Are you sure it's got better representation than Mel Gibson's film Apocalypto about the Mayan Empire?
No, I guess I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. It's got old Jaguar paw. At the end, he goes all Rambo on the Mayans that are trying to chase him. It's a great film.
That sounds absolutely wonderful, and it'll hold up beautifully.
I can't wait until we review Apocalypto. Yeah, anyway, I think definitely it's... Oh, by the way, actually, in case you were wondering, because you mentioned Mexico, you don't know what it's called. I think I'm 99% sure that Mexico actually comes from Aztec. I think the actual language the Aztec speak is Nahuatl, and I think the people were called the Mexica. So I think Mexica refers to the kind of broad kind of family, I guess you'd say. So like the Aztecs were a specific subgroup nation, but the broad family, like kind of the Celts or the Germanics and things like that. The Mexica were the people, and they speak Nahuatl, which I like because it's a cool thing to say. Say it, Luke. Say Nahuatl.
Nahuatl.
Anyway, but
the king was called Montezuma or something.
Montezuma, like you're right. Yes.
Yeah, I remember that from Civilization.
But it can also be pronounced Moctezuma. It's a bit like one of those Boudica, Bodicea things, I mean.
All right.
Life.
We all know those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so indigenous representation, thumbs up. Yeah, it's great. And as, exotic figures, it's not a surprise. There has been criticisms in Western cinema, so basically American or British or whatever.
Yeah.
That there has been, exotic, an exoticization, I hope that's a word, of, people of different races who aren't white. And so, it's no surprise that would be the same in Latin America with indigenous people. So yeah, that is really good. That, that is it could be a catalyst for change. That could be really good. And
I was going to say, because obviously you get depictions of indigenous people in, I guess you'd say, kind of frontier colonial films, Western films.
Got it in White Zombie.
Yeah, you did, yes. So you get, these depictions of indigenous people in The Last of the Mohicans. But obviously those films are, number one, set during the colonial times in the past, which is obviously the only time when Native Americans existed. And number two, almost always from the perspective of white people. Sometimes you might get a Native American woman just so she can fall in love with a white man. But something which I don't think I know of a single American film, as in the United States of America, about Native Americans in the modern day. Like where, I mean, apart from like a drama that features Native Americans or anything. Like, so yeah, that would be nice if at some point somebody says, hey, maybe we should actually make a film which gives an insight into the stories and the life of the actual Native Americans that are alive today in America. So obviously, like I said, I mean, you I think we're kind of talking about the implications for Latin American cinema, and it's probably more likely this will have an impact on that, especially seeing as I think the indigenous people and also mixed people, I think they're called Mixtec. I think that's like the term for them. Like, I think it's literally called that, Mixtec.
Well, the language... the language, I'm going to get it up here because I saw it. What's it called? It is called Mixtec. Yeah, that's what the language is called.
Okay, I got it. Yeah. So, there's a large number of those people in Latin America. So I think there's probably more of a basis because I don't think that indigenous people are quite as marginalized in Latin America as they are in North America, referring to United States and Canada. So obviously it's probably a bit more realistic that we might see more Latin American films. I imagine there already are some quite a few Latin American.
Well, that's the thing. In this paragraph, it said it could be a catalyst for change.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering. I imagine there are still already, even then, even though it's going to be a catalyst change, I imagine
they're already better
from that perspective. Before, I imagine they're already ahead of us. But definitely, it would be nice, like I say, because to see, because we like diversity in cinema, because it's nice to see unique perspectives rather than just old white men all the time. That's why the Academy sucks so much. I'd like to see the Anglo-sphere of the Americas actually get some stories told from a Native American perspective. But I guess not. Don't hold your breath.
Yeah, I will not hold my breath on that. Not for sure. That's the thing. Like, it's if you have more people telling more stories about more characters who come from all different backgrounds, then you're going to get a wider selection of good movies, essentially.
At least New Zealand is doing all right. We do like a bit of Taika Waititi.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's Taika
To be fair,
Waititi.
New Zealand has always been setting the standard with their hackers and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
So just be more New Zealand everywhere else that has indigenous people.
Okay, so let's go into the acting now. Obviously, we talk about Yalitza Aparicio as the person who obviously is an indigenous person who obviously was the main character in this movie, and she was a first-time performer, obviously. And I think I may have even predicted her to win the Academy Award for Best Actress because of that last year, ahead of Olivia Colman. Although I can't quite remember. Maybe I gave it to Olivia Colman, I'm not sure. But anyway, so Yalitza Aparicio, very good, obviously. Do you think she was better than Olivia Colman?
I don't know. I mean, the thing is so understated. I mean, so it's kind of, it's really hard to draw a judgment on that. I mean, because obviously the argument would be, well, it's hard to act in a subtle way, but I kind of just feel like, I guess here's my problem. It's hard to feel like it's really much acting and not just somebody kind of just, because I feel like a lot of people could do as good of a job as Yalitza Aparicio did. I might be wrong about that, but I kind of just feel like really the acting wasn't the best strength of this film. Obviously, when I say a lot of people, I don't really mean a lot of people. I mean a lot of kind of actors. Obviously, I can do a good job, but I didn't feel like the acting was exemplary or exceptional.
I mean, it wasn't exceptional, but I think it was very good. Like, that's not one of the first things.
I hope she doesn't listen to this and decide to quit acting. So yeah, it was very good, and but I would like to,
for a first time performance. Obviously, it was incredible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In a way, I do think, and maybe this is wrong, but I almost feel like when somebody's just given one performance, I don't think you can say much about their quality as an actor, because when you really get an impression of how good somebody is as an actor is when you've seen them do a variety of roles, and
different directors and all that.
And then you go, oh, okay, yeah, this person's a really good actor. At this point, you could say, well, maybe Alfonso Cuarón made her feel really comfortable, and she kind of just acted like a normal person, and Alfonso Cuarón was very good working with her. So I don't know. We can't really say either way.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, it's certainly for a first performance, whatever the director, it was incredible, and obviously she should be very proud of her performance. Despite not winning, and I think Olivia Colman probably a tougher job, even though it's, you could say Yalitza Aparicio had a tougher job because it was her first acting job. But just comparing the two roles on her own, probably Colman had the tougher job to pull off. And I just want to say, I thought the mother, Marina Di Tavera, was very good. Sophia, I thought, her nomination was deserved. I thought she was really good, and all the child actors as well. They were great.
Oh yeah,
that's the thing. I was like, oh yeah, you know what, child actors, they were decent. Yeah,
I like the kid who kept like. It felt very natural. The kid who was like, when I was older, I was a firefighter or whatever. Basically, that's the kind of thing like a kid says. Like, I used to be old.
They were just stupid fucking kids throwing stuff and, insulting people and saying stupid shit. That's what kids do. So just have them do that and you're okay. And, you don't have to, you can have kids in your movie and not have to sigh every time, one of them says a line. So that's great. Anyway, Michael, I want to move on now to the last thing we're going to talk about before we conclude, which is why this movie didn't win Academy Award for Best Picture, because this is one of my shoo-ins, I think, for last year. Yeah, it definitely was. Roma winning Best Picture. I thought it definitely would, because I was looking at all the others and there wasn't a main contender, and Roma had the most nominations. It was like, well, it's going to be Roma, wouldn't that be great? A foreign film winning Best Picture, the first foreign language film to ever win Best Picture. And then when it didn't win, I thought, oh, well, that's never going to happen. That was a joke, obviously, because Parasite won the next year. Yeah, you got that. Yeah, great.
Yes.
So anyway, this movie didn't win the Academy Award for Best Picture, and Green Book did. So why did this happen? Green Book, why didn't this get it? Because it was the front runner. It seemed like the obvious choice. It was, would have been historic. Maybe the Academy voters didn't want a film about their maid to win Best Picture. I would think, come on, they're not. Yeah, sure, they're people, but they're not, complex people. There are better stories than that. Oh, what is it? This is a movie about how white people, they're not racist and they can help black people. Oh, lovely. I'll vote for that. Yeah. Or maybe it was a Netflix thing. Like, I know Steven Spielberg said something about, how streaming movies shouldn't be considered for Best Picture, much to the chagrin of his cousin Steven Spielberg, who was a big supporter of Roma. But yeah, no, he said that, so maybe voters were like, there's still a bit of snobbery about Netflix.
I think that, honestly, genuinely, I think obviously the race angle, there's I think two angles, or I guess maybe four angles, I guess you could say. First one would be kind of the race angle of this is a film about Native American poor race and class angle, we'll say. Poor person who basically just lives as a poor person. And then you've got Green Book, which, number one, obviously there's a message of racial conciliation, which I'm sure they like. But number two, also, it's a kind of upper class, well-to-do black person. So I think the class aspect can add a thing. The other option could be that the Academy actually aren't that smart when assessing the quality of films, and maybe they were one of the people who was like, Roma, more like sleeping because it's so boring.
More like Slow-mo.
Oh yeah, Slow-mo.
That was right there. That was right fucking there for you.
Well, you know what happened? I wanted to say Slumber, and I realised that's too far away. Number 3 would be the Netflix the Netflix pushback. And number 4 would be that they genuinely thought another film was better. I was thinking about this, and in terms of films which I think could possibly compete, I think I haven't seen A Star Is Born. It's the only film that was nominated for Best Picture which I haven't actually seen yet, and I plan on seeing it probably maybe even tomorrow. But yeah, I haven't seen A Star Is Born. I imagine A Star Is Born probably isn't great as a film. I imagine it's a pretty just kind of whatever film. So I think really the only films which I could see competing with Roma from any reasonable perspective would be Black Klansman and The Favourite. And obviously Black Klansman wasn't going to win. That would be weird. The Academy's not going to nominate Black Klansman. That would be so dope of them if they did. And The Favourite, that's the kind of weird thing. Yeah, it just feels like
too weird, too niche, too yeah, because it's. I mean, we reviewed it a couple of weeks ago. It was it just in a broad general sense. I think The Favourite would be it's not. It's a nominated picture. It's not the best picture. That's probably what
exactly. Yeah, I think that's how. Well, obviously Green Book. I mean, that's the thing.
Well,
I said
that is a Best Picture winner from Driving Miss Daisy 30 years ago.
It has a. I guess that's the other thing. Yeah, Green Book does have a precedent. So
yes. Precedent should not be intact, but nevertheless it has a precedent, and obviously that's why it won.
So, and I think that's it. I mean, obviously, I genuinely think it's so I guess maybe if you say the fourth option, because I don't know, they genuinely think it's a better quality. It almost doesn't matter if they did, but I think definitely the precedent, because I guess that's the 4 things. It would be the race and the class aspect of Green Book being about a wealthy black man becoming friends with a white person, as opposed to just a film about a poor I was going to say Mexican, obviously Mexican, poor indigenous Mexican woman who basically lives a shitty life and doesn't really get any major kind of payoff or good pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Then you've got the anti-Netflix bias. You've got the fact the Academy might just genuinely be not very intelligent when it comes to looking at films, and they think cinematography more like crapophotography. I've actually heard that a lot of the Academy, they just get sent DVDs and they just like watch it on like their own.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe they just, it's just like just watching it on like a shitty TV, and then just
I watched it on my
laptop. We watched it
was
on
great,
laptop,
but it would have been amazing actually watching it in a cinema for the first time. That would have been great. But anyway, so those are the reasons, I guess, why it didn't win, and Green Book fucking did. And we'll get on to the conclusions then. And so, Michael, I'm going to go first.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because I don't go first often, so I'll go first this time. So, Roma. Again, just
I didn't realize you could roll your R's.
Sorry?
I didn't realize you could roll your R's.
I've done it quite a bit so far.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know. I wasn't paying attention every other time until
Can
just
you
then.
roll your R's? Is it an impressive thing?
Roma.
Are you serious? Is that the best you can do?
That's the best I can do. Like I know how to do it. Like I know you kind of get your tongue like in there, but it just stays still.
Roma.
Like it doesn't vibrate. It just stays still. It just turns into like a bee. Roma. Yeah. So yeah. Good job, Luke. Well done. You're so much better than me.
I know, and I just Roma. So my conclusion to Roma. So obviously, like we said, a love letter to the Mexico of Alfonso Cuarón's youth, and the passion he put into this, the time he spent crafting it, is a beautiful piece of art. That's what it is essentially. It feels like, I guess you could say, well, all movies are art, but then like Grown Ups, is that really art? But yeah, this feels like art, and that is, you get the sense when you're watching again, if you just immerse yourself in this and don't think too much about, well, the plot's not really going anywhere, and just, get into it, and eventually we'll start enjoying it a lot. So again, I think I'm going to bump it up. Obviously, we talked about, this is an article, and, the cinematography is amazing and all that, and but I think that the main reason I'm going to give this a high mark is because of that immersion that you really, it's okay that nothing's happening on the screen. That's the really great part about it. It's okay that none of what's happening, because you can just appreciate everything going on in that shot. So because of that, I am going to give Roma, I'm going to give it, I think, I'm questioning whether to give it an 8.5 or a 9. I'm going to give it an 8.5 for now, because I've only given a few movies a 9. But yeah, it's certainly, it could be a 9, but 8.5 for me. So yeah, very, very, very good.
Yes. Well, my opinions on Roma. That was there was a bit of vibratiness there, so
no,
I'm happy with that. Oh, okay,
no, you should be. Go. Conclude.
Yeah. So obviously, I think the when I think about films, I really break it down into 4 categories: plot, emotionality, themes, and artistic style. And generally speaking, I would say that a film can only excel in one of these and still be a 9, probably. So in other words, a film that's really, really good in one of these areas could probably still be a 9. Having said that, with this film, I feel like as much as I kind of said, I like the fact that it doesn't, try to really show off too much with the niceness of it, and it doesn't try to look too nice. I think because of that, it means there's kind of a limit, because it is ultimately a film where what you're appreciating to the greatest extent is just how kind of natural and real and, like, say, immersive the film feels. But then the flip side to that is that you're not actually being blown away by the cinematography. You're just kind of quietly appreciating it. It's a very kind of subtle enjoyment. And while I think that's arguably a kind of delightful, quaint feeling, I think when you give kind of 9s, you have to be talking about films which blow you away. There was a part of me, I was thinking maybe even as low as a high 7, but definitely no. Now I actually really think about it and kind of think about how great this was, especially when I look at the other films I have in kind of the 7 range. 7 range, we're not talking about films which are this incredible in terms of the artistic stuff. Thinking about it, really, I think It's going to sound, the two films, again, I find it weird when I place a film between two films which are nothing like it, but I'm going to place it above Dumbo, which is just I feel like I probably gave Dumbo too high, so maybe I'll address that at some point, but above Dumbo, below Alien. Alien obviously was this, again, it's weird because Alien's a completely different film to Roma, but Alien, it had a lot of atmosphere going for it. I think Alien was very creatively done, and also Alien had a very exciting
there are similarities between Alien and Roma,
Yeah, so ultimately, I'm saying that as far as I'm concerned, Alien and lots of the other films have got higher than Roma. What really is getting them is that I would be excited to see a lot of the films with Roma again. I think with Roma, I definitely am excited to watch it at least once more, but I do wonder exactly how much that the particular appeal it has of just being a film where you can kind of quietly appreciate it. I wonder how much longevity that gives it in terms of being something which, you are going to watch over and over again. So with that in mind, 8, I guess it's kind of a low 8.5, so I kind of agree with you with an 8.5.
Right, okay, fair enough. Yeah, I guess that's what's really maybe stops it from being a 9. That's what maybe held me back, is like, I do like the plot, the lack of plot just means I can only give it an 8.5. But anyway, let's do receipts now, Michael.
Yes. Birds of Prey.
We guessed Birds of Prey. Because we were reviewing The Favourite and we thought, there's a bunch of women in The Favourite, there's a bunch of women in Birds of Prey. So that's a good enough reason to guess The Favourite. Guess Birds of Prey. So your guess, Michael, do you remember?
I feel like I feel like it did quite well, and I feel like I probably went lower than you, but I don't remember.
No, well, you guessed 78, I guessed 74.
It got like 70.
No, it got 79. 79, which means...
Oh, wait, no, I'm really close.
Which means you are 1 point off. And I was 5 points off, which means 1 point gets added to your total, which means you're now on 37. 5 points gets added to my total, which means I'm on 49.
And also, on record, that basically completely covers the gap that was established with the Oscars.
Yes. So obviously you have a 12-point lead, but then obviously you get 6 points taken off for getting 6 correct points from the Oscar predictions, so you're down to 31, and I get 10 points taken off because I got 10 correct answers, and I'm down to 39. So obviously the lowest score is the best, so you're on 31, I'm on 39, which means we are at the exact same distance as we were before, which is 8 points. So how about that? 8 point gap between us, 31 to 39, and we will continue. So, Michael, what are we doing next week?
Well, next week, Luke, we are going to be continuing looking at the Oscars, because you got to, by looking at the winner for Best Adapted Screenplay, which is, of course, Black Panther. Not Black, I don't which is, of course, Black Klansman by Spike Lee.
Got it.
Do we do, just out of interest, so, Best Original Screenplay, it was Green Book, of course, yeah. I was about to say, do we do, because obviously we've got it down as best film.
Yeah.
But so one best original screenplay as well. So best adapted screenplay, Black Klansman.
So we shall be doing Black Klansman next week. Thank you for listening. We have been selecting and reflecting our Roma, because obviously it won Best Director with Alfonso Cuarón, which is very much deserved, and Best Cinematography, which is even more deserved at last year's Academy Awards, and obviously was nominated for Best Picture, but did not win it in the end, which is a shame, considering what actually won. So join us next week for Black Klansman. Who have you been, Michael?
I've been Michael.
And I've been Luke. See you next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.